Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. Paul stared at himself in the full-length mirror, barely recognizing his reflection. The wig and makeup transformed his face, softening his jawline and accentuating his eyes. The padded top and curve-hugging dress gave him a feminine figure. He looked like an entirely different person. Taking a deep breath, Paul grabbed his purse and headed out. The pulsing music greeted him as he approached the neon-lit club. Heart-pounding, he handed over his ID to the bouncer, who barely glanced at it before waving him through. The darkness swallowed him as he entered the crowded space. Making his way to the bar, Paul ordered a drink, lowering his voice in an attempt to sound more feminine. As he sipped his cocktail, he scanned the dance floor, watching the carefree revelers. An attractive man caught his eye and smiled flirtatiously. Paul looked away, unused to such attention. After finishing his drink, Paul ventured onto the dance floor. He swayed awkwardly at first, hyper-aware of the wig and heels. But the music soon swept him up, and he let go of his self-consciousness. As the songs blurred together, Paul lost himself in the pulsing beat. A few songs later, Paul felt a tug on his skirt. Glancing down, he saw a jagged tear in the chiffon. Cursing under his breath, he made his way off the dance floor and towards the bathroom. Thankfully, the ladies' room was empty. He slipped into a stall and shimmied out of the torn skirt. Rummaging through his purse, Paul found the backup skirt he had packed just in case. As he stepped into it and zipped it up, the bathroom door opened. A woman's heels clicked on the tile floor as she touched up her lipstick in the mirror. Paul held his breath, waiting for her to leave. "Cute skirt," the woman said. Paul froze. "Oh, thanks," he stammered, trying to disguise his voice. "Where did you get it? I love the floral print." Realizing she thought he was a woman, Paul relaxed slightly. "Oh, just some little boutique downtown," he improvised. "It's darling. I can never find anything that fits me right with these curves," she said, smoothing her tight dress. Paul seized the opportunity for more information. "I know, it's so hard to find the right fit. I'm still figuring out what works for my body type." The woman nodded enthusiastically. "Us girls have to stick together. Men don't understand the struggle of finding the perfect skirt." She checked her reflection one last time. "Well, happy skirt hunting, honey." With a little wave, she exited the bathroom. Paul let out a relieved breath. The conversation boosted his confidence. He could do this. After fixing his makeup, he headed back out into the club. Paul snagged a stool at the bar and ordered another drink. As he crossed his legs, he noticed the skirt riding up to expose his thigh. Uncrossing and recrossing at the ankle instead, he tried to arrange the fabric more modestly. "Well, hello, beautiful." Paul turned to see a young man leaning casually against the bar. Heart fluttering, Paul returned his smile shyly. "Can I get you a drink?" the man asked. "Sure, I'll have a vodka tonic," Paul replied, pitching his voice higher. The man waved the bartender over and ordered their drinks. "I'm Sam. What's your name?" "Paula," Paul answered automatically. "Paula," Sam repeated slowly. "That's really pretty, like you." Warmth rushed to Paul's cheeks at the compliment. They clinked glasses and he took a sip, the alcohol adding to his lightheaded buzz. Over the next hour, one drink turned into 2, then 3. Men kept appearing to buy Paul drinks, drawn in by his convincing feminine appearance. Paul got into character, coquettishly brushing his hair back and laughing at their jokes. The alcohol clouded his discomfort at the flirtation. He was just playing a role, he told himself. "I need some air," he finally said. The night air chilled his flushed skin. Paul took deep gulps, trying to clear his foggy head. Looking up, he noticed a streak of light shooting across the night sky. A falling star. He closed his eyes and made a wish. When he opened them, the star had vanished. But a strange, glowing rock lay on the ground at his feet. Paul picked it up, turning it over in his hands. It was about the size of a golf ball, smooth and opalescent. As he examined it, the rock suddenly fused to his palm, melding with his skin. Paul yelped, trying to shake it off, but it was stuck fast. He rushed back inside, making a beeline for the bathroom. "Come on, get off," he muttered desperately, scraping at it with his nails. but the rock remained embedded in his flesh. A curious tingling sensation spread up his arm. Paul's eyes widened in alarm as glittering veins crept across his skin. The tingling overtook his entire body, growing more and more intense. He doubled over, clenching his jaw at the weird feeling. When it finally subsided, Paul cautiously straightened up. His reflection startled him yet again. But this time, it wasn't just the makeup and outfit. His features had changed, softened, rounded. His hips and chest curved gracefully. Reaching up with a shaking hand, Paul felt his Adam's apple was gone. The rock had transformed him completely, biologically female. Paul gaped at the mirror, unable to believe his eyes. "What did you do to me?" she whispered hoarsely. But the rock had no answers, fused seamlessly with her palm. Paula veered away, their attention making her skin crawl now. Pushing through the crowd, she burst out the front door into the night. Taking gulps of the cool air, she tried to clear the fog from her brain and comprehend what had just happened. She had to get out of there. Paula hurried down the street, heels wobbling. She caught a glimpse of herself in a dark storefront window. The wig, smeared makeup, tiny skirt. Shame and fear flooded her. Tugging off the wig, she stuffed it in her purse. Next, she pulled off the heels, relishing the feel of the concrete under her sore feet. Paula ducked into a deserted alley, safely out of sight. Leaning against the cold brick, this couldn't be real. But the rock embedded in her palm said otherwise, the alcohol still swirling through her system. Her knees gave out and she sank to the ground. Still in disbelief, Paula fell into a restless sleep right there in the alley, the glowing rock pulsing softly in her hand. As sunlight filtering down the alley woke Paula, she blinked gritty eyes and slowly sat up, back aching from the hard pavement. For a moment, she didn't recognize her surroundings. Then the events of last night came rushing back. Glancing down, Paula saw the glowing rock was still embedded in her palm. She shakily got to her feet. The first order of business was to get out of this alley and find somewhere more private to examine herself and figure out what to do next. Paula straightened her rumpled party dress as best she could. Thankfully, it was early enough that the streets weren't crowded yet. She slipped out of the alley and hurried along the sidewalk, keeping her head down. Up ahead, she spotted a small diner. The smell of coffee and sizzling bacon made her stomach rumble. Paula realized she hadn't eaten anything since the pre-party nerves yesterday. She dug through her purse and found a crumpled $10 bill. Pushing open the door brought a welcome blast of warm air. The sleepy waitress barely looked up as Paula slid into a booth. "Coffee to start, hun?" the waitress asked with an automatic smile. "Yes, please," Paula said, noting her voice now sounded higher and feminine without her even trying. The waitress returned with a steaming mug. Paula wrapped her hands around it, letting the warmth seep into her palms. As she sipped the hot coffee, she tried to make sense of everything that had happened. Clearly, the magical rock had transformed her completely, body and voice. She didn't know how to reverse what it had done, or if she even wanted to. This was the chance she had always secretly dreamed of but never thought possible. Paula was interrupted by the waitress returning to take her order. She realized she was ravenously hungry and ordered pancakes, eggs, and bacon. As she ate, she became aware of the glances from two men sitting at the counter. Uncomfortable, she quickly finished her food and left cash on the table. Back outside, Paula aimlessly wandered the neighborhood streets. She needed to figure out a plan, but first, she wanted to get out of this constricting party dress. Spotting a thrift shop, she hurried inside. In the dressing room, she shimmied out of the dress and into a simple sundress. It fit her new curves perfectly. Next, she found a pair of flats that actually fit her now much smaller feet. Ditching the wig and makeup in the trash, Paula paid for her new outfit and walked out, already feeling better. But she still had nowhere to go. Paula sat on a bench, racking her brain for options. A bus roared by, and it suddenly hit her. She could just leave this all behind. Start fresh somewhere new. She had some cash saved up, enough for a bus ticket and a few nights in a motel while she figured things out. Energized by the thought, Paula went to the nearest bus station. She purchased a ticket for the next bus heading west, not caring where it went. She had nothing tying her here anymore. Settling into a window seat, Paula watched the city streets fade into suburbs and then open fields. She drifted off, the gentle swaying of the bus finally letting her fully relax for the first time since the chaotic events of last night. Several hours later, the bus jolted to a stop. The driver announced they had reached Hillside. Paula joined the queue, disembarking from the bus. She stepped out into the little town, blinking at the late afternoon sun. Her first stop was a motel near the bus stop. After checking in and stashing her bag in the room, she headed to a diner next door. Sliding into a booth, she ordered a burger and milkshake. As she ate, Paula people-watched. Hillside seemed like a nice, sleepy town. She spotted a help-wanted sign in the window of the antique shop across the street. Maybe she could find a job here, make a fresh start. The next morning, Paula walked into the antique shop to inquire about the job. The owner, an older man named Walter, said he needed help at the register and shelf stocking. After a brief chat, he hired Paula. Over the next week, Paula fell into a routine in her new home. She checked out of the motel and found a small studio apartment to rent nearby. Each morning, she walked to the antique shop and enjoyed learning about the interesting items as she cataloged and displayed them. On her lunch breaks, Paula wandered around town, getting familiar with the area. She introduced herself to the regulars at the local diner, the elderly lady who owned the bookstore, the florist who always had fresh bouquets outside his shop. Settling into this quiet new life, Paula nearly forgot about the magical rock fused to her hand. She kept it carefully covered with bandages, telling anyone who asked she had hurt herself. Paula awoke to sunlight streaming through her studio apartment's small window. She stretched and smiled, still getting used to her graceful, feminine frame. Sitting up, she unwrapped the bandage from her hand and gasped. The magical rock was gone, leaving only smooth skin behind. She was fully and permanently transformed. After a quick shower, Paula opened her tiny closet. She had bought some essential clothes, but hadn't wanted to spend too much on a wardrobe for her unfamiliar new body. Now she could take her time finding pieces that fit and suited her style. She pulled on jeans and a t-shirt, ready for a shopping trip. At the cute local boutique, Paula introduced herself to the owner, Bethany. She explained she was new in town and needed some wardrobe help. Bethany's face lit up. "I'd be happy to help. Let's start by figuring out your sizes." She measured Paula's waist, hips, and bust. "Now let's pick out some things for you to try." Soon, Paula's arms were piled high with clothes. She stepped into the cheerful fitting room. Slipping off her t-shirt, she caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror. Slender waist, soft skin. With a giddy smile, she tried on the first outfit. The floral sundress fit perfectly, accentuating her curves. Paula twirled in front of the mirror, loving the swish of the skirt. Next, she wriggled into a pair of dark, skinny jeans. Bethany had picked just the right size to hug her slim legs. Over the next hour, Paula modeled outfit after outfit. Bethany helped her choose flattering pieces in bright prints and feminine cuts. "These will be perfect for my new life," Paula said happily. She paid for her new clothes and arranged to have them delivered to her apartment. Thanking Bethany for her help, she headed down the street to run more errands. At the drugstore, Paula browsed the beauty products, realizing she had a lot to learn. She picked out makeup in natural shades, mascara, blush, tinted lip balm. Then she grabbed razors, shaving cream, and scented body lotion. Back home, Paula unpacked her new clothes and put them away. She took out the makeup and studied the instructions on the back. It was time for her first beauty session. Paula changed into a casual sundress and surveyed her reflection. With just a bit of makeup and her new clothes, she looked and felt so feminine. Over the next few weeks, Paula developed a comfortable routine in Hillside. She explored her style, alternating between pretty dresses and vintage-inspired outfits. Her makeup skills improved each day. She kept her legs silky smooth, delighting in the novelty of shaving them. Paula also settled into her job at the antique shop. She loved hearing Walter's stories about the items they sold. Her favorite was a vintage jewelry box that played a twinkling tune when opened. Paula imagined who had originally owned it, picturing a glamorous woman getting ready for a night out. It was a sunny Saturday morning when Paula first noticed something was off. She woke up feeling vaguely unwell and chalked it up to something she ate. Sluggishly making coffee, she hoped the caffeine would perk her up. After breakfast, Paula headed outside to run errands, but she just felt off. Her stomach hurt dully and her mood was cranky. Paula sighed, realizing it must be PMS. She had read about it, but as a guy never experienced it herself. Stopping by the drugstore for ibuprofen and chocolate, Paula thought maybe a light workout would help. At the gym, she hopped on a treadmill but quickly felt fatigued. Her usual jogging pace was a struggle. Abandoning the workout, Paula headed home to rest. Curled up on the couch with a heating pad and sappy movie, she reflected on how differently women's bodies worked. This monthly cycle added a whole new dimension to her life. Over the next few days, Paula's discomfort only increased. Her back ached, her stomach cramped, and she felt weepy watching sappy commercials. Is this what it's always like? Paula wondered. She took long baths and tried to be gentle with herself. When she awoke on day 5, barely able to get out of bed, Paula knew this was more than regular PMS. Fear trickled down her spine as she spotted the blood on her pajama pants. Of course, she was having her first period. Over the next few days, Paula's flow lessened, but her mood remained low. The hormone crash left her weepy and sensitive. She tried to be gentle with herself, staying in and watching comforting movies. Finally, the dreaded week drew to a close. Paula awoke feeling more like herself. The sun shining outside lifted her spirits. She took a long shower and put on comfy leggings and an oversized sweater. Overall, Paula grew to appreciate the bonding, empathy, and resilience that came from this shared female experience. Though initially jarring, her monthly cycle connected her to womanhood in a profound way. She learned to care for her body with more tenderness and wisdom. With time, the changes became Paula's new normal. Though parts remained challenging, she felt grateful to live fully as a woman and all that came with it. She looked forward to the sisterhood and self-discovery ahead in this next phase of her feminine journey. One evening after work, Paula stopped by the local bar for dinner. She sat at a table sipping her wine when a man came over. "Sorry to bother you, but I was sitting over there and couldn't help but notice how lovely you look," he said with a shy smile. Paula blushed, not used to male attention. "Oh, thank you," she replied. "I'm Aiden. I haven't seen you around town before," he said. Paula introduced herself. They ended up chatting over dinner. Aiden was sweet and funny. For the first time, Paula considered dating as a woman. The thought made her pulse quicken. Over the next few weeks, Paula and Aiden went on more dates around town. They walked through the local park, got ice cream at the parlor near Paula's apartment, saw a movie at the cozy theater downtown. Being with Aiden awakened Paula's romantic side. She daydreamed about him holding her hand, cuddling on the couch watching a movie, slow dancing pressed close together. One night at dinner, the conversation turned serious. "I know we haven't known each other long," Aiden said, "but I really care about you, Paula. I was wondering if you'd be my girlfriend." Paula's heart fluttered. "I'd love to," she replied, feeling like she was truly embracing her new life. Aiden walked her home and they shared a sweet, gentle first kiss. Paula practically floated up to her apartment, giddy with excitement for the future. Over the next few months, Paula only grew happier with Aiden and her new identity. She loved experimenting with fashion, from flirty sundresses to slouchy sweaters. Her makeup skills improved, and she amassed a large collection of lip glosses and nail polishes. Paula embraced all the little feminine habits she had admired from afar before her transformation, crossing her legs delicately when she sat, flipping her hair over her shoulder, walking with a hint of a sway in her hips. Aiden treated her with tenderness and respect. He held doors for her, put his jacket over her shoulders if she got cold, brought her flowers just because. "You make me feel so special," Paula often told him. Curled in his arms, Paula knew this was exactly where she was meant to be. All her life, something had seemed off, like she didn't fit right in her own skin. Now, everything had clicked into place. She drifted off, feeling fully herself for the first time. Paula woke slowly, stretching her arms over her head. She smiled, feeling completely at home in her soft feminine body. Rolling over, she snuggled into Aiden's chest. He murmured sleepy nonsense and wrapped his arms around her. Paula sighed contentedly, perfectly happy to stay in bed all morning. But she had plans to meet Bethany for a girls' brunch date. Reluctantly, Paula slipped out from Aiden's embrace. She padded to the bathroom and turned on the shower. As she waited for the water to heat up, she caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror. Her features were fully feminine now, all traces of masculinity gone. Paula trailed a hand down her smooth curves, still marveling at her transformation. She stepped under the steaming spray, letting the water cascade over her slender frame. Massaging shampoo into her long hair, Paula daydreamed about the day ahead. She and Bethany were trying a new cafe that had just opened downtown. Paula planned to wear her new floral sundress and the wedges she'd found on sale last week. After shaving her legs, Paula shut off the water and wrapped herself in a plush towel. She dried off, smoothed on scented lotion, and got dressed. Sitting at her little vanity, she did her makeup, just a touch of mascara and lip gloss for the daytime. Paula gave her reflection an approving nod. Being feminine came so naturally now. She gave Aiden a goodbye kiss on the cheek. "Have fun with Bethany today," he mumbled sleepily. "Love you." Paula's heart swelled. She still couldn't believe she had found such an amazing, understanding boyfriend. Outside, the sunny spring weather matched Paula's mood. She took her time strolling to the cafe, waving to familiar faces along the way. Hillside was the perfect small town to embrace her new identity. Bethany was already seated at an outdoor table when Paula arrived. "You look so pretty," Bethany said, admiring Paula's dress. They ordered mimosas and chocolate croissants. "How are things with Aiden?" Bethany asked. "You two make the cutest couple." Paula smiled, twirling her hair absent-mindedly. "Really great," she replied. She described their latest romantic date, a moonlit picnic by the lake. The friends lingered over brunch, chatting and people watching. Paula realized she had adjusted completely to girl talk. She and Bethany discussed everything from celebrity gossip to clothing sales. It all felt natural, just two girlfriends sharing their lives over brunch. After saying goodbye to Bethany, Paula stopped to admire the flower arrangements outside the florist's shop. She wished Aiden would surprise her with roses or lilies someday soon. Smelling the sweet perfume of the blooms, she continued home. Paula spent the afternoon relaxing and reading the latest novel for her book club. Curled up on the couch, she took a break to text Aiden about their plans for tonight. He was taking her out to dinner at the new Italian restaurant. Paula couldn't wait to get dressed up and enjoy a romantic meal. Late afternoon sun slanted through the windows as Paula stood in front of her closet. She selected a classic little black dress that made her feel chic and sophisticated. Paula carefully did her makeup, giving herself cat-eyed liner and red lipstick. She slipped on the strappy heels she saved for special nights out. Hearing a knock at the door, Paula's heart fluttered with excitement. She greeted Aiden with a kiss. "You look beautiful," he said, his eyes full of admiration. He offered his arm and escorted her out into the evening. At the restaurant, Aiden held her chair and ordered a nice bottle of wine. By candlelight, the ambiance was deeply romantic. Paula was happier than she could ever remember being. Life as a woman was everything she had secretly longed for. After dinner, they went for a moonlit stroll through the quiet streets of town. Aiden put his arm around her, keeping her close against the nighttime chill. Paula leaned into him contentedly. She truly loved this kind, caring man. Over the next few weeks, Paula noticed her body subtly changing. Her chest became tender and swollen. One day at work, a wave of nausea sent her rushing to the bathroom. When she realized her period was late, Paula stopped at the drugstore after work and bought a pregnancy test. Sitting anxiously in her apartment bathroom, Paula stared at the 2 pink lines forming on the test. Pregnant. It was shocking, but instantly joyful. She and Aiden hadn't planned this, but knew they wanted a family someday. Paula placed a hand on her still flat stomach, overwhelmed with love for the new life inside her. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.